I know.
Poor John. He's stuck here. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 4 of the Modeling Insanity TV LiveCast. We have a great guest tonight, Mr. John Colasante. But what we're going to do is we're going to do some intros. So we got on my screen, top left, we got Mr. Frankie Donati. All right, Mr. Rob Adams.
Yo.
And we got Justin Ryan. So we got a big crew here tonight.
Hey, everybody.
All right. So Mr. John Colasante, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. And that was quite an introduction. I was the first time I saw that, and quite nice.
I guess he knows how to build a model.
Yeah, he knows how to build a model. It's a lot of planes though, but we're gonna let him. We got to sometimes show that we're not just armor guys here. We're trying to vary it a little. Well, actually, we haven't had a dedicated armor guy on the live cast yet. It's been cars, planes. Well, Robbie Knopf does a little armor, and so does John, and Brian does a lot of everything. But we haven't had a dedicated armor modeler, but we will soon. But John, thanks for joining us. We're glad to have you on the show. And a lot of people are starting to join up right now on the live cast. So we're going to keep chugging along and have people join up. People are going to start messaging in the chat. So Frankie's going to monitor that a little bit. But right. John, so how you doing? All right.
I'm doing very well. Thank you. I'm doing very well.
I'm glad you're here. And I'm going to try to let Justin Ryan ask some questions a little bit tonight because he says that I overtalk everybody right now, but we're going to have some fun. So John, just a little background. Like I said, a lot of people probably know you. I knew you before I knew you. Does that make any sense? Like I knew of you before we knew each other. But I want you to just give a little background on yourself, the hobby and stuff like that. And
sure.
And then from there, we'll try to come up with some fun, interesting questions for you.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I live in New Jersey and
we're sorry.
Recently moved here from New York City. We moved here in 2018. And I've been scale modeling my whole life. Started when I was a kid, watching my father build scale models. He was quite an avid builder, primarily cars and ships. And I would watch him build, and really got hooked at an early age. And then through my younger years, I think I built every single Tamiya armor that was available. So I've gone through a lot of kits, not to a high standard, just to glue it together, hand paint it, whatever. So I'm familiar with all the Tamiya armor. And then I think around 15 years ago, I took a little break, and then about 15 years ago, I came back into the hobby and I decided to take it more seriously, and just have been having a great time. Obviously things have changed since I was a kid. The hobby seems very vibrant and alive, and there's so much going on. And I also last year started my own little accessories company called Matters of Scale, and I've been having a ball with that. Primarily doing it's a one-man show. I do my own 3D designs, and then I print and send them out. So it's it's a part-time thing for me. But it's been wonderful, and I've met so many people. I go to scale model shows in the area, like Mosquito Con, Penn Con, where I met Justin a few years ago. Where else? What are some of the other local shows?
Well, you don't come to Long Island. We know that.
No, I want to come to one of the shows out there. It just hasn't worked out timing wise, but I definitely want to come out.
We do get regionals though, so you got to keep an eye. Not this year coming, but hopefully next year we'll have the IPMS regionals back on the island. So
Definitely want to come to that. I've been to what's the one down in Maryland?
MarauderCon.
PAXCon.
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 Yeah, MarauderCon, PAXCon. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to Marauder, or what's the other one down there? The ODO.
ODO. Yeah, that's
They
in
keep telling
Virginia,
me
right?
they keep telling me to go to that because I have a lot of friends who are down from that area, the Maryland area. So they keep telling me to come to that show. So I'd like to do that someday. And then I go to the IPMS Nationals, which I really enjoy. So yeah,
You
I
going
try to
this
get to
year?
the shows.
You go to nationals this year?
Yes,
We're going to be there. Me, Justin, and Santucci will be at the
Fantastic.
show on Thursday. We'll be there.
Okay, for the
We
whole
have a
thing.
booth. We have a table, but I don't know how much we're going to be hanging out at the booth or the table. But we'll be there just one day for us Thursday. So definitely,
Really?
we'll definitely hang out there. Yeah,
One day.
yeah, because
Yep.
we go
Family
down with
vacations.
families, and I'm
Okay.
not entering anything.
You should have picked the Friday, man. So at least most of the models are on the table,
I know,
But
Rob. Some things,
Stop telling us how to live our lives.
we'll be there for the Thursday, which will be fun. And yeah, so
You know what I noticed about the for the past few years, whenever the podcasts have a table,
Mhm.
it's never anyone there.
yeah, I
They're
know.
always walking around the show. So they'll have their table and it's almost always completely empty with you'll just see like the banner and then
Right.
nobody
Yeah.
to talk to there.
Yeah, well, we have it. We did a big thing at AMPS Nationals. We did live from the AMPS Nationals, so we were manning that. It was either Frankie D running the show, Rob, Justin, me, Tooch. We did like 10, 11 interviews there, so we were manning that table almost the whole
Cool.
week.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
Cool. And I'm not vending or anything there because I really want to go to enjoy myself there. And
Yeah.
so I won't be selling it.
Well,
yeah, when you end, you don't get to see much of anything, right?
you can at the table. Then you got to bring your wife there that has to sit for you, so when you can go.
Yeah.
We'll go look at models. She's got to run the show, and then she bitches and complains that you're not around.
Right.
Like, the deal when we came. You got to sell stuff.
Riv,
Yeah,
we need to
I
get you a phone book so people stop busting on your
I know that's me. He has to break my chops. My camera's up high up here. It's like, come on, Mr. Shaquille O'Neal over there. All of a sudden now, like, Mr. I can get on every ride at the amusement park. Misi, for God's sake, this guy. Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah, keep it up, Andrew. So John, that's a good segue. So we know you do the planes, and you're well known for your plane model, and that's for sure. I mean, I've seen
thanks.
your stuff in person when we've been to Mosquito Con, and very impressive stuff. I know you've taken some nice awards at those shows, so don't be Mr. Modest over here. You do very good work. I mean, listen, we wouldn't have you on the show if you didn't do good work. I'm only kidding. We'll give people an A to bid. I have Rob Adams as a co-host. He's a terrible modeler, you see. So we have very low standards here at the Insanity.
Oh.
But I've seen your stuff and it is amazing. And even Justin's like, yeah, John Colasante. Didn't John build you certain things? Didn't he make you some stuff for your plane?
He sent me some of his stuff.
Right. I mean, that's John.
Yeah.
He's a bigger enabler than I am.
I was totally fucking jealous too. I was like, because he was showing me this stuff. I can't remember. It was engines, right?
Justin, put your gain up a little more.
And I was like,
just a tiny bit more.
I was like, man, those look nice.
No, John does good. So, so what made, I know you're in the tech, you're in career-wise, you're in the technology business. What got you started doing 3D printing? Now, everybody knows I'm like, everybody has this, like, I know sometimes I talk a lot of smack about 3D printed stuff, but there is a time and a place for it. And the stuff that you do, that's where the place is. So, like, how did you get into that?
Yeah. So, it's funny because I am actually an engineer by education. Okay. But the 3D modeling that I do isn't really related to engineering. So that's not where I'm coming from. It's more about creativity. And I really love the idea of, using the computer since I'm in the computer field, I'm always in front of a computer. So using the computer to create these ideas is very appealing to me. I like the exactness of it and the fact that all these digital tools come together to allow you to create these amazing things. You can superimpose photos, and you can use drawings right on your computer and kind of build your stuff up. And I see it actually as a lot like traditional scratch building. The core set of concepts is the same. Using kind of primitive shapes to build up into these complex. It's there's nothing magical about it. It's all just kind of repetitive and precise operations that you build up these very complex things. So all these things that look very complex and detailed, they take a lot of time, but they're not that complex in terms of how to create them.
It's where engineering meets art.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, but right, but
because somebody engineered it.
Well, somebody engineered the real thing, exactly.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a balance between engineering and art. In my case, I see it more as like an artistic thing.
Right.
But you could make the argument that there's like an engineering side to it. But yeah, I just really enjoy that creative process.
So what do you use to do your 3D printing, John? What program are you using? Like Fusion 3? Was it Fusion 3? You using Fusion?
Yeah, I use Fusion 360, but
360.
yeah, Fusion 360, or now it's called Fusion. They changed the name.
Okay.
But really, all these softwares are very similar.
Right.
All these CAD programs. So, I've dabbled in a bunch of different programs, and they all have the same concepts. So whether you use, Fusion or SolidWorks or Rhino, they're all the same, more or less.
Okay.
You're basically just sketching lines and then creating shapes from them.
Right.
So it's not about the software, really. It's more about the process.
Fusion's pretty expensive, though. Isn't it expensive for like a year license for it? Isn't it like in the hundreds of dollars?
Yeah, it is. It's about $500 per year.
Wow, that's insane.
You can also get there's a free version, though, that you can do pretty much everything that we do with the free version, because the paid version gives you features that you don't need for what we do.
Okay, so you don't do the paid one, you just do the free one?
I'm using the free one right now, but the licensing terms dictate if you make over a certain amount of money, you have to go to a paid version. So eventually, if I keep doing this as a business, I'm going to have to.
How would they know, though? How would they know if you're making money?
They wouldn't necessarily know. It's an honor thing.
It's an honor thing. Well, listen, I'm right below the threshold. I only sold 425. I know it's 430 that we have to start paying, but I didn't get to the 430 threshold.
I just can't seem to break that.
Right, but for me, like that's not like the honor code with something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of odd.
Maybe it would be more, how many hours have you used it for or something like that?
Well, that's the thing, though. I think that there isn't it like maybe it's another. My buddy John Lamb does a lot of 3D printing, and it's something like you have to get like tokens or something. You buy tokens. Is that not Fusion? It's another one.
Not with Fusion. No, Fusion is the free version is free for everybody, but you're supposed to pay for it if the license terms say if you make over a certain amount of it, and I don't know what that is.
Okay.
But if you make over a certain amount of money, then you're considered a commercial license, and you have to pay for it. And you're right. There's no checking up on it. I could probably use it.
Right. I mean, it doesn't know what you're printing, or is it just knows what you're creating?
No, because it's not a printing program. It's just
right. That's what I think.
program.
How would they? That's a little odd, though, that they have like that stipulation in their like user agreement. Like if you make a certain amount of money on things that you might sell or make, like in a specific time period, that you have to start paying for the. I get. How many people?
It's not the only software
I got to start
that does
paying.
This. Yeah, it's not the only software that does this. There's other ones like that. But honestly, if you're using this in like a production environment where you're creating real parts for engineering, like for cars and for whatever, then you're really forced to buy it because you need certain features that enables. So it's not like you're really if a person is really making a lot of money with the software, like a company that has multiple seats,
right,
they're going to pay for it because the free version doesn't have the features.
Right, it doesn't have the features.
Yeah.
Right. Rob, you want to say something?
No, I was agreeing.
Well, the best
I know
BJ.
I know BJ preferred Rhino. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that it's a lot harder to use, but he found it the other way around. He was like, fuck Fusion. So
yeah, again, I like Fusion. I like Rhino. I started with Rhino, and I kind of in some ways want to go back to it. It's a more elegant program, and it can do a little bit more with like complex curves and things like that. But again, I see them as very similar. Like it's just, you know, you draw a curve and then you extrude it or you rotate it. The core operations between the two programs are almost identical, really.
You know, you know what? That's a great segue. We're gonna do this, okay? I know that we were talking about it. Do you want to show some of the stuff that you've been working on? I think this is where we're gonna try to start doing some interactivity here on the live cast. Sure. This might be a little too much for guys like Frankie Donati, but we're gonna see if it works a little. It might overstimulate him a little bit, right, Frank?
Yeah, he likes being overstimulated.
Frankie likes getting to be stimulated.
All right. I mean, I can show you something.
So John, so this is 3D. This is Fusion 3D right now that we're looking at, right?
Yeah, this is Fusion 360 and
360. Sorry. And
yeah, this is a piece that I recently made. Does anyone know what this is?
That's the intakes for the Jag.
Correct.
Oh, that's an intake. Okay.
Did I send these to you, Justin?
I did not get a set of those. You have not sold. You had not made me buy a Jaguar
It
yet.
look, you know what it looked like to me, John? It looked like the back end of like a dustbuster that you take it out to clean out. Yeah. That's what it looked like to me, a dustbuster. I was going to say a dustbuster.
Look at this quaint little piece from the 1980s.
So I can show you like the idea that I was just explaining. So let me see. I have to get in close here. So let's say, for example, and I don't want to bore everyone.
Don't bore, because this, you know what? I'm really interested in this. I'm looking for you to try to change my mind about 3D printing, you know, right now.
Okay, yeah, we can make that about this. So
so I'm really listen, I'm really interested to see how this works. So I know a lot of people
we're calling this conversion therapy.
Yeah. All right, so I'll show you how I'll show you how. So you see these sketches here, these lines that I made?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those correspond to this shape. Okay. And so what I did was to build that in a very simple way. For example, I'm going to show you a simplified version of this. So I would take I would draw that, right?
Right.
Then I would go to another plane here, and again, I'm doing a very simplified version. We'll just put it there.
Right.
We're not judging you, John.
I like this, Frankie, that you went full screen, Frankie, right? This is great.
Yeah, just so people can see a little easier. So this is great.
Yeah.
I'll draw that, right? And then I'll do, let's say, what's called a loft between them. So I'll start here with this shape. Oh, hold on. I'm kind of.
This is fascinating.
This is great. I mean, yeah.
I'm kind of doing this,
No, John, listen, I'm not going to listen. I'll chastise you off the podcast, off the live cast. Right now, you're doing a great job. I'll let you know. I'll give you your report card after the show.
This is okay. This is ad porn. Go right ahead.
Okay, and then you see, I created that shape.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, in this case, obviously, it was curved, so it's more complex. It has more, but that's the essential idea. And then once we have that shape, right, then I can go in and I can thicken it. You know, like I can go like this, and I can.
Me too, Justin. It's all about the girth of your Jag engine.
So, are you like taking measurements of what it
should
be, and then going from there, or do you just draw it and then adjust from there?
I'll explain. So,
okay.
So in this case, right, I made it thicker, and then when I go to print this, now it already has thickness. Now I can actually go ahead and print this and test it and see how it fits inside the model. So. Your question of I just did this off the top of my head, but in reality, what I've done is I've made sure that these measurements, like if I go here and I say, measure, and I measure from here to here, that you see that's 8.246 millimeters. I've already made sure that fits inside the kit. So I made those measurements on the kit with something like this. This is a very, very important tool for CAD modeling. If you can go to the camera.
Frankie.
Can you switch over to the camera?
Oh,
come on, pay attention.
Back to what we're doing here, like this.
Yeah.
See this?
Oh,
there we go. Yeah.
Calibrator.
Yeah.
Calipers. Right now, these are digital calipers.
I said calibrator.
And I work usually in millimeters, so you can see there, right? This is literally $20 on Amazon, and they're accurate enough for what we do. Like it goes to 2 decimal places. So 8.23 millimeters. That's good enough for the printers we use. And so what I'm able to do then is I'm able to make all the measurements on the model. and then come in here and draw the shapes, these curves, with with those measurements in mind, and then I'm able to make these solids. And then we take this solid and we bring it into a different software to actually print it. But that's the basic idea with more refinement. But
Right.
that's the basic idea.
I know you had an engine you were showing me, right? Was it a jet engine you were working on? That's I thought that was really cool. I thought people would get a kick out of that too here to see that jet engine that you're building.
Yeah. So that one was I'll show you.
Don't accidentally click on the hub, as Justin would say while we're on. There's YouTube guidelines right now.
Okay, so that
Look at
rib
that.
is not a jet engine, for fuck's sakes. Okay.
What
This
is
is not a
that?
jet engine. This is the
a rotary.
Pratt & Whitney
Rotary.
double wasp.
All right, whatever. It's something on a plane. Am I sitting here thinking I can? It's okay. It's there's a
Jets
hour
don't have
something.
props, Rev.
John, that's cool as shit looking just like that. You could probably sell prints of that thing, not 3D.
Yeah, right.
For people to put up in their modeling
colors?
rooms.
What do all the different colors represent?
Okay, that's a good question. So, the different colors are there are ways to break up the model into components so that it's not all one giant folder. Like the CAD software has an idea. You know how like on the computer you have folders and you keep stuff in folders?
Yeah.
Obviously, right? So in CAD, you have ways to group components together so that they're easier to manage. So each color here represents what's called a component. I don't have to use components. I could have had all this as one color or one component, but it gets very messy. It's like keeping all of your files in one folder. So it's just purely a way to organize my work. So when I'm working on, for example, these are the magnetos. So for example, if I was working on this magneto, I could isolate it so that I only work on the magneto and I put all the details in. I can zoom in and I can put all these details in, and then I can unisolate it when I want to get back and then work on, let's say, this prop governor.
No, that's going to be all separate. Like when you print this is not going to be printed in this, just like this one big, whatever the hell it's called on a plane. It's going to be multiple parts, or can you just print this like this?
That's all one part.
One part?
I choose, the way I work, I choose to do it all as one part in general. But some people, someone else might print it as separate parts. For example, here it is, one part. I don't know if you can focus on that, but that's
hold on. We can just. I don't know if we can just isolate. But that's awesome. Yeah.
How many hours do you got into that thing?
Well, look at that thing, man.
Yeah, this is probably, it's hard to say because my first engine that I did was like hundreds of hours.
Hold it up again, John, because Frankie was able to isolate you.
No problem.
Look at that thing.
So, John, is that the one that you did for the Mini Art Razorback P47?
This one is the Thunder. This one is the bubble top.
The bubble top. Okay. Because I have one of those. I don't remember which one I got, but you sent one over to me.
Okay, so if it has these like what they call the turtle back magnetos, see these? They look like turtles, right?
Yeah.
Those are the GE turtle back magnetos. If it has those, then it's for the bubble top.
Okay.
If it has the rounder ones that look like cans, then it's for the Razorback.
Okay, I'll have to double check.
So, John, how long this type? I mean, listen, for someone who knows nothing about this, and I don't know if some guys in the chat know a lot about it, if some people don't. Look at Adriana, late to the game. I've already said that from before. Anyway, how long does it take you to do this? Like, how long would it take you to in Fusion to design this particular part like this? Because it looks extremely complex to me right now. I mean, if I was to build that in plastic from, let's say, God forbid, it was a Mini Art kit, right, Rob? Forget about it. A lot of connection points to clean up.
So it's funny you should mention that because the Mini Art kit comes with an excellent engine.
Okay.
It's the problem with it is it doesn't have all the wires and it's all obviously multiple parts, and it holds a candle to this, but it doesn't have all the wires. Once you start putting the wires in, it gets very hard to make look cool, because you can't really put these connectors in. Look at these connectors that I have, right? I have these connectors here. I have the spark plugs that are looking actually like spark plugs. How are you going to do that with a wire?
This, John, this is God, man. I mean, this is this is
photo
amazing stuff right here, man.
And this is in 48 scale.
This is in 48th scale. That's the one I showed you that I was holding. I also made them. They look great in 32nd scale too. They're bigger. I can show you if you want to go to the camera. That's one in 32nd scale.
Yeah, we can just put him up. Yeah, there you go. Wow, John, this is crazy. John didn't want to promote himself here, and I'm like, you got to show this stuff, John. This is come on, stop shaking.
I'm not here to promote myself, but
no, you're not.
I'm passionate about this. I love talking about
right
this.
now. Listen,
Yeah,
stop
it's about the hobby.
Am I gonna kick you off the show right now? I got to kick you off.
So can you just build like one jug and then go times 10 or whatever around? Like, does it work that simple? Like, not simply.
Yeah, definitely.
You know
what I mean? So let me answer the question about how long this takes.
Yeah.
When I did my first engine, which was the Pratt & Whitney R1830, which you'd find in the Wildcat, the B-24 Liberator, the many aircraft, right? Okay. That was the first radial engine I did, and that took like hundreds of hours, like many months and hundreds of hours. This is my second major engine project. This probably is half that time, but it's still months of work because, there's just so many details. And the hard part isn't really drawing the details. It's figuring out what the damn thing looked like, because there are no very clear drawings of this engine on the internet or books that I have. There are no blueprints of this engine. I had to go by photos, and I had to look at many photos from many different angles and figure out what this thing really looked like. And the shapes are not that easy because these cylinders are very asymmetric, and they have a lot of, they're not just, very simple, they're not just array of fins. Look how the fins curve and they go around here, and this flange is here. They're pretty complex. So it took me a really long time to figure that out. And that was where most of my time was spent, trying to figure out what this looked like. I must have drawn those things many times and then, over and over again. But I'm getting faster at this. So, if I had my next engine I do will probably take maybe dozens of hours instead of hundreds.
My buddy John Stimmitz is right. And I know that he works at Kennedy Airport, and he's an aircraft mechanic. And he's like, if you read the screen, that's simply awesome. I feel like I'm back at 18.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, like my buddy John he's been doing it for years and years and years as a mechanic on these planes, and he's saying how amazing this looks. It's crazy, John, that you built this in a computer and you're able to print this, which is insane. Can you do some nice engine compartments for me for some Stugs and some Panzer IIIs?
Absolutely. Let's
get on
it,
John.
No, seriously. You tell me, what you need, and we'll talk about it. And
this is fantastic. This is amazing, John.
All of that detail comes out in the print too.
Yep.
So here's the thing, printers over the last few years, they just keep doubling every year or two, right? The resolution and the quality. So yes, all this detail does come out in the print, as long as you have a really well-tuned, high-quality printer with good resin. You can get all this detail. It really does come out, and even more than this that I'm showing here. But it does get to a point where it's you can't even see the detail.
Right. The question is too, then, John, how do you set up the build plate for something like this? Because I know, what do you recommend with your stuff when it comes to removing it from the build plate and all the connections? But how do you set it up with the connections for something like this?
So I orient when I do an engine like this, I orient it like this, so that it's so it's on the build plate flat. Because I want it to be symmetrical. Some people, it might actually be better to angle it like this.
Because it eliminates doesn't it say if it's angled, it can eliminate some of the layer lines, right?
Well, yes, but there are pluses and minuses, and I'm not saying that the way I do it is the only way, but I like it like this because everything comes out symmetrical with an engine like this. And then basically, I'm not saying that people would do this, but what I do is I literally just twist it off with my hand. I don't even cut them.
You just twist it.
Yeah, I design the supports so that they break before everything else. But I can't tell people to do that, because if they try it and it doesn't work, they're going to destroy the model. But I literally twist off with one go.
That's what our buddy Jay DeBecker used to say when he set me over, God rest his soul, when he set me over his FAMO crane, right, Frankie? I'm like, Christ, PJ, There's so many connections, and he has one that and he on the screen. He just grabbed. He goes, "You just do this," and he grabbed it and pulled it all off.
That's what I
I'm
do.
like, I feel like I'm gonna break it if I do that.
The thing is, if you do this a lot, like, I'm printing like, a lot, right? So if I had to cut everything, it would take me forever. So I just rip it off. But again, I can't tell people to do that because they'll, if they fuck it up, then,
Right. Oh, you're sending the part with the build plate connected then.
In most
Because
cases,
it helps with
yes.
the shipping, right?
So, sometimes like on engines, I send it with it on, but other parts like those intakes, the support system is really big and it would like triple the
shipping.
So I take them off of that. But
Right.
you have to clean it up. Like it will leave some little marks, so you have to clean it up.
Yeah. Well, that's a given with the 3D. You're always going to get those little marks that you got to clean up a little bit here and there.
John, what are you running for printers right now? What do you got going?
So yeah, I've used lots of different kinds of printers, but I've kind of settled on now the Frozen Revo line of printers and the Frozen Mini 8K. So I have two types of printers. The Revo is a larger build plate. It's still high resolution. It's 14K resolution, and it's good for almost everything I make. But sometimes I want to get like the really, really high resolution, like really tiny parts. Like I make these accessories for 48th aircraft, like the ring and bead gun sight on the P40, and I use my Mini 8K. It's really high resolution, and it's a small part anyway. So it's a very small printer with a small build plate, but I'll run like extremely high resolution parts on that. So I use the Frozen printers with the Frozen Aqua resin.
How many?
Okay, that was my
printers
next question. Was what was going to be, or did you have a concoction? Some guys I know like to mix and match with things like that. I mean, I know you need to dial in your printer for your resin, so it's good to be consistent. And you like that brand.
I like the Aqua 8K because it is to me, it's a really good balance of high detail. The supports remain strong even when they're extremely like hairline supports remain strong. Some resins, cheap resins, can't do it all. This is almost like a resin that can do everything. It can maintain excellent surface finish, strong supports at extremely optimal resolutions for high detail. Other resins have a hard time with that, and so it's more expensive. But for me, I've played with other resins. I'm trying to get the cost lower, and I just haven't found a good resin that's cheap that's also as good as this. So I pony up and buy the expensive resin. But I'm sure there's other resins out there, and yeah, I do sometimes mix resins, like when I want to get something a certain color.
Yeah.
But I'll usually use the Frozen Aqua resins as my base.
How many printers do you got?
I have 4 large format printers and 1 of the tiny printers. So 5 printers.
Nice.
John, it's amazing stuff. I mean, what you're doing right there is what it's all about. I mean, something like that is doing an engine or whatever that's called. What is it called, that thing? Not an engine. What is it, Rob?
That's a
Well,
radial
it's an engine.
It was an engine.
It's a radial engine.
A radial engine.
Not a jet engine.
Yes.
Not a jet engine.
Not a jet
but,
engine. So
I mean,
you see the hole in the front? That's where the prop goes.
And I'm gonna say this, and we got and I know there's people that do a lot of 3D printing and they put their stuff on some of those like Colts and some of those things for people to purchase, but then people get the file and they overshare it and things like that. And all the work that they're doing. And I know that some people have said, I spent 100+ hours or more designing this piece or this part, and I put it on there, and then everybody's just giving away the file, right? And there is a lot of work that goes into some of this stuff, and I can understand why some people are in a way like hesitant to maybe upload their stuff to that. Look at this, we got a Sherman hull. This is look at this. Where's Lou?
So let me talk about that a little bit. I think the future of this, we can get into the philosophical part of this, but I think the future of this part of the hobby is about downloads. So in other words, the majority of my parts right now, I print and sell. as physical parts, but I do have some parts. It's a small percentage, but there are some parts that I have as download your own and print at home. Okay. And those parts, I haven't, they don't sell as well as, believe it or not, as the print parts, but I do sell some of those. And I think ultimately that's going to be the way it goes. But obviously, once the creator puts it out there for sale, even for sale, there's no way to protect it. So once it's out there, it can be shared widely. But I'm dipping my toe in that because I really believe, that that's the way the hobby is going. Now, one model that seems to be successful for some creators, and I think this is what's at least been working now, is there are creators that have a following, right? I don't really have a huge following, but there are creators that make like Dungeons and Dragons type miniatures or Warhammer miniatures, right? They have, let's say, thousands or tens of thousands of followers, right? So what they do is they make these, packages of figures every month, and then they basically make them downloads for like $10 a month. You get them all, right? You subscribe, and they don't worry about piracy or sharing because every month they're churning out a new batch of figures that thousands of people are paying them $10 or $20 a month. That's their cash. That's their cash flow. They don't care about, like, after it goes out. That's it.
They don't care. And they're doing so much of it,
and they're making a lot of money. So
I've seen ones too where, like, once you say subscribe for like 3 months, it opens up their whole catalog. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
because they don't care at that point, it's like it's out there anyway. It's being pirated or it's being shared. But so for them, it's like, I'll give it to you for free if you sign up for 6. They're just trying to get as much cash flow as they can,
right?
Because that's their model. It's a monthly cash flow thing. That wouldn't work for me right now, but I do think that's the future of this part of the hobby is downloads.
Right.
There is a company, and Frank, Scale Model Outlaw, any of you guys in the chat can throw the name up in the thing, but there is a company that the Scale Model Car Podcast they advertise for that does do that. Where
Iceman?
No, not Iceman. I can't think of the name of it, but they do a monthly. You get a file pack every month, and you can just download and print whatever you need every month.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't have a 3D printer. I don't know if I'm like capable of maintaining it, like how to do everything. So I would kind of rely on, if I was to buy stuff, and I do buy stuff from 3D print. People think I don't, but I do.
Speed Garage.
There it is.
Scale Speed Garage is. Frankie Steffens is in right. Frank Steffens is in right now.
I know Frank. Yeah,
Frank. So there you go.
My man Frank.
Yeah, Frank Steffens is a great guy. He might be the only person that has a thicker accent than I do. Long Island.
He does have a thick one.
He actually dabbles in the 3D print as well.
No, yes, Frank does. He does a great job.
That's right. Yeah, you guys have talked. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, he's doing car bodies, which I haven't done a car body, and I think that those are very challenging because you can't have really many imperfections in that. Like, I guess you can sand some of it out, but like those engines, if there are layer lines deep within it, you won't even notice. But because it's so many surfaces, and but a car body, has to be pretty smooth. And if there's layer lines in it and you start sanding it, how do you get it when it's close to the door handle or a trim piece? It's tough.
Or when it's all rounded stuff too, because I've noticed, like, I did a Mandalorian girl, whatever, the top of her helmet, right? It looks like a swirl of the layers, right? Yeah. And it didn't matter what I put on it, that would not disappear.
Yeah, you couldn't do it.
I even sanded it. Stuff,
Yeah, it's tough.
I just did the full 3D print kit from a company called Resin Tech Models.
I saw that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a really nice kit. And he's getting better. Like, he's really starting to get better when it comes to the way he's setting up the printers, and like we talked about, the angles and trying to reduce the amount of layer lines on certain parts. But like Rob said about those rounded parts, you get like that knot, like on a tree. Kind of looks like a tree knot.
I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah, and it's funny because I think someone had, Rob, remember someone had said, we were talking about it in the build room about it, and I forgot who it was that, I don't know if it was Scott Wadico or somebody else who mentioned it. I can't remember. Who's like, they talked about maybe it's not the ley lines anymore. Maybe it's just like kind of like the way the resin is now because of the way it was printed. Like, you just can't get rid of that. it's always going to show through. I don't know. Is there something like you can't sand it out? Like you said, you're sanding it, you're priming it, and you can still see it.
Yeah, and it's the other thing I noticed too is you sometimes kind of get this. It's like almost like a holographic quality to it, like it's shiny when you look at it.
You had that problem with Freddie.
I'm talking with large scale figures, yeah, and it took like 10 coats of flat coat and all different flat coats to make that go away too. That came through the paint too. So I don't know if it's light reflecting on a microscopic level on the layer lines, but it's
exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't deal a lot with the like large.
Well, that's like organic shapes though, right?
Yeah, organic shapes, but that's really interesting. I'd be curious to learn more about that. Like I said, my stuff doesn't really, I try to minimize it as much as I can. There is something called anti-aliasing when you're printing. The other software is called. So once you're done with the design, like this particular thing, by the way, I thought might be interesting since you're an armor guy. This is, you know how Tamiya makes the 1/48 M4A1?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I wanted quarter scale now. This is great.
Quarter scale, right? Yeah. So I wanted to do the British version, the first Sherman in service in North Africa. The what do they call it? I'm drawing a blank.
Sherman V.
Was it the Sherman V?
I don't know. I
my buddy John Stimmitz is on. He might know this. He probably might jump on.
The Sherman
he just already talked about it. Hold on, didn't he? Just wrote it.
The first Sherman,
the British M4A1 Sherman Hull.
Yeah, exactly. But there was a certain name. The British, they didn't call it. I don't think they call it the M4A1. They called it the Sherman
three.
Oh, the Mark III.
The Mark III. Okay.
Three.
So that had the direct vision hull.
Direct vision, right?
Right. So what I did was I basically did the whole thing for the Tamiya kit. I did the hull here, and I did the direct vision conversion, and these can actually open. And then I did the bogies for it, the early bogies,
Oh wow, look at that!
And then I printed these out, and I put them onto the Tamiya kit comes with a metal hull.
The metal hull, yeah, because this is an early one.
So I used the metal hull from the Tamiya kit. I used the turret from the Tamiya kit, and I also made the Crusader style turret bin, which would be this. They put like this Crusader turret bin on it.
So we're talking 48 scale then.
Yeah. This was 48 scale, but this can be resized to 35th. But there would be no point because don't companies make this in 48?
Yeah, they do.
35th already.
They do. Tasca makes, Asuka makes one. Yeah.
Right. So I figured, but nobody makes it in 48th scale. So I made that in 48th, and it came out pretty good. So I'll probably finish this. I started putting like the Pioneer tools on, like the shovel.
Yeah.
And I really just have to finish that, and then it'll all be ready, and I can.
John, I'm going to ask you now, if you do this, and this is done production wise, if you send me this, I would love to do one and maybe promote it a little bit if you want to, if you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you'll be willing to do it. My buddy John Stimmitz, I think he's probably salivating right now at the moment at the prospect of building this in 48 scale because definitely it's John Stimmitz. This is like my buddy Lou too would probably love this, right, Frankie D?
Oh, big time. Yeah.
This was a fun project. I want to do more armor stuff. I do, I do primarily aircraft, but I do like armor. I'm not particularly good at. What happens is with I have a certain. I know what I want to do with an aircraft. I have a vision of how I want it to be weathered and all that. But armor, I just freeze up. When it comes to weathering it, like I don't know what to do. I don't know. And I have friends who are experts like Sam Dwyer and.
Sam is great.
Other friend, he's very willing to help out, and
Sam is great.
Yeah, he always helps me out with it. But I just kind of freeze up, because it would be like an armor guy trying to do an aircraft, and when you get to point, you probably don't know what the hell to do.
I don't know anything. I thought that was a jet engine that you showed. That tells you how much I know.
Yeah, hey, John, you don't know shit about aircraft.
We have a bunch of guys in the chat that would be interested if you did start producing that hull.
Yeah, if you did that hull, I would definitely promote that and try to do something with that. It'd be great if you did the hull to get rid of the metal hull from Tamiya's metal hull and just do the.
Oh, you don't like the people don't like the metal hull?
Terrible. They're horrible.
Really?
That's my only gripe of the earlier, and they're just like devoid of detail. They were gimmicky, and to me, you learn their lesson pretty quickly about that. I mean, they kind of, you remember the quarter scale models, and I do the quarter scale with Luke and Stan. We do talk a lot about this, and we had Fred Medell on from Tamiya America, who's like the big guy for Tamiya America, and he even said, their division of 148 scale at the time was supposed to be more like toy like, and then they kind of moved away from that. They still give you like the metal inserts to still give it that little bit of weight that people might want, but the metal holes, that first run of kits, But even with the metal hole, it's fine. But that is awesome work, though, John. I would be all over that. And I'm not I'm not a Sherman guy at all.
I mean, like the Tiger one, you don't see any of it.
Frankie Perone would like that too. He would be all over that.
Man, Genius Productions is saying that we can't distract you with armor because you've got Soviet and Japanese engines to put out.
Yeah, that's funny. I have too many American engines already.
Joe had mentioned something a little earlier about a Wildcat engine or something. I don't know if you have one or you're building it.
I do. Yeah, that was the first one I did.
Yeah, throw it up on the screen. I want to take a look at it. Can you do it? Do you have the file?
Yeah.
You got one handy?
Hold on, talk about some more stuff because I think a lot of the guys are really enjoying looking at this because, listen, I'm ignorant.
People saying their heads hurt.
Really?
Yeah. Well, just with the level of detail and the
skill. Listen, that's why we're trying to do these live casts. Like, listen, if we had John on the podcast and just did just talked like this on the podcast, you're never seeing it. Having a live cast like this
gives it a whole different event.
And you know what makes a lot, and I'm going to take a lot of shit for this when I say it, but it's worth it. You know why the live cast is actually really good tonight with John doing the visuals? Take a guess, Justin. Why is it so good?
Because he's proven the point for 3D printing.
Okay, I'm here, you're here, Frankie D's here, Adam's here, and John. What's missing?
We're missing the Tooch.
Oh, that's why it's better. He's never coming on again. I'm getting a message tonight. You know what? I'm not coming back.
I'm done.
You're not going to see my face
right now. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the first. This is the first engine I did. This is the Wildcat engine.
Oh wow! Look at that, huh?
This would go in the early Wildcats, and you can see it has what's called the Mickey Mouse magnetos on the front here. These are the ignition system more or less, and so this would go on the what is it? The F4F-3 and 4 variants, and then I also have this is funny, right? This is a twin row radial engine. See, there's two banks of 7 cylinders.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but the let's see, talk among yourselves.
No, this is not. I'm fascinated by this. This is not like you right now, John. I know that Frankie Perone is telling me that I need to let you speak, but we gotta kind of keep this going a little bit. That picture right there is all the files on the screen at once. Like you can remove things right now as you're talking about them, right? Or adding, right? This is like the final file, but it's layers, right? Is that what that is? Layers, like in Photoshop? Is there layers?
Well, they're called components. Yeah, they're
components. So, like, if you wanted to move, let's say, a part on that, you
can do it magneto.
Right now. Yeah, you could do that. You could just grab that one component and move it. Now, this is also a Wildcat engine, but this is a single row. See it? This is the right cyclone for the FM2, the later Wildcats. They're called the FM2 Wildcat. So,
okay,
I'm having a hard time rotating this because I did it. Okay, so basically, this was for the early Wildcat with the twin row, and then this one is the later one for the FM2. Now the difference is this one is single row, but it has more diameter than this one. Okay, so if you look at the two models, the cowling on the FM2 is bigger, and it's also a little bit different shape because it doesn't have as much. The engine is slimmer than this one. I think they made about the same amount of power in the end, and I'm not sure why they went to the Cyclone. Two different companies too. This is Pratt and Whitney, and this is Wright. WRIGHT.
So you did two different manufacturer ones?
Of course. Well, you have to because
I don't know.
You can't put this engine in a FM2. It's totally wrong.
Okay.
And you can't put this engine in an early Wildcat. It's totally wrong, and it wouldn't fit anyway because it's a bigger diameter. Right?
Okay.
So I do like the rivet counting aspect of it. I know it's a derogatory term in our hobby, but I like trying to be accurate. It's part of the fun of it for me is figuring all that out.
Right.
And figuring out, what are the various accessories. Like on this R2800, the double wasp. You know, the magnetos and the way they're different between the different versions of airframes, like in this case the Razorback and the bubble top P47. Right. You know, I had to make sure I wasn't going to send a person the wrong version of the engine, although they probably would have never known. But I had to do it right. I had to do it that way, and you know, that's why I have like a lot of different versions, right? Because I want to make them kind of drop fit into the various kits. So while this one is for the Mini Art Advanced, the Mini Art Basic is a totally different. Like back here is different because
so this is for a specific. This is specifically for the Mini Art kit.
This is for the Mini Art Advanced Bubble Top P47.
All right. So there's no other versions of that particular aircraft available from another manufacturer. Or there is.
Yes.
Then I have that fit in that if you wanted to do it.
No. Well, you know, in the past, the way people did this is they just make one R2800 and they would just, you know, you put it in whatever kit
you want, right?
And I'm not saying that's not a valid way to do it because we're modelers. You know, we figure out how to shoehorn something into something else. So if you wanted to, you could use any. You know, I have, let's say, 6 variants of this thing for different kits, but you could just buy this one and put it into a Tamiya kit, but you'd have to like cut all this away. You might have to like file down the outside diameter so it fits in the cowling.
Right.
Because even though it's the same aircraft, Tamiya and Mini Art might have a slightly different size of a cowling. So this might not fit into the Tamiya kit.
So when you get
plastic thickness is different or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
So you're measuring. So when you get the kit, when you're making this for this particular Mini Art kit, you're getting the kit and then you're doing your own little measurements with that caliber. Is that how you say it?
Caliper.
Caliber is a body shop.
Caliper. And you're making your measurements and then you're using that then to design. Oh, look at that. Frankie's putting up your site right now. Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. The level of details is, I mean, insane stuff.
Well, we're getting questions, so I'm just telling everyone in the chat, just go to his website.
You know, this is what we're going to do for right now, quick. Is there anybody right now, while we're still talking about this with John, in the chat, does anybody have any questions that they want Frankie D to put on the screen for John? Maybe if there's any questions or any things that maybe people want John to use his little free time to start creating and making in the future.
Yeah, I mean, forget about going to my site. I don't care about that. If anyone wants to know what I'm doing here,
I know what a caliper is. I just couldn't say it.
I'll be happy to show anybody anything.
Yeah.
I am passionate about this, and I like to. I guess I'm an evangelist of 3D design and 3D printing, and I'm doing actually last year at NATS. I did 2 seminars, one on 3D design, which is about this part of it, and then 3D printing was where you actually take the thing and you bring it into the printer. Totally 2 different things, right?
Yeah.
Because you could be a 3D printer and never do the design, and you could be a designer and never know the printing side of it. Right?
Now, John, I'm a big proponent of buying engines for the car models that I build, from Iceman, Texas 3D. I did at one point reach out to Joel over at Iceman and said, you know, you'd make a killing if you started doing some 1/35th scale Sherman engines, German tank engines, et cetera, et cetera. And he's like, yeah, I don't think I want to get into that. John, I think people would like some Sherman engines. I actually saw one in a comment. Do you have any Sherman engines?
Yeah, and you also got a good question here, right? What is it? So the question.
So right now the question is there a lot of issue with manufacturers with shrinking the design to fit without having drastic change of the part?
And this is.
What does that even mean, Ben?
Yeah,
Ben.
No, I think I understand. I understand. I think he's saying, let's say I made this engine, right? And now I wanted to fit it into another kit. Like let's say the Academy P47 has like a really tiny engine it comes with. It's ridiculously small, right? It probably means that the Academy kit has not a lot of room inside to fit the R2800. So let's say I wanted to make this for the Academy kit, but I'm not going to redesign this whole thing. It's 99% the same as what goes into the Academy kit. So what I would do is there are ways for me to resize this and then make a version for the Academy kit that's like, let's say 94% of this. So yes, the answer is there are ways to do it. It's not as straightforward as you think. It's not like a half hour of work, but it is possible to resize.
What is this from Travis?
30-second scale Jap kits are screaming out for this sort of detail, like decent KI-84 seats don't exist. Are you looking at that group of aircraft? Like, I mean, you've obviously got the F4, well in hand. Are you thinking of branching out perhaps into other air forces, other aircraft?
Yeah. So let me show you what I'm working on now. I'm not doing any Japanese. Okay, first of all, I have a lot of American engines to finish first that I want to do. Okay? So
he's got goals, people. Get off
I got
his
things
back.
to do. I'm busy. What would Rob say here? I'm busy.
I'm busy.
So I want to do, I want to finish off these American engines first, and I want to do them in like other scales, like for example, the 72nd, the 32nd, and I want to do them for specific kit fitments. So I have a lot of work ahead of me. I'm not saying I would never do the Japanese stuff, but I want to wait till I finish up this catalog, and it's going to take me a while to do that. Right. So I'm not promising anything in terms of Japanese engines, but this is something I'm working on now for the Qatari kit coming out.
Okay.
This is the engine. This is the engine for the 109 K4.
Yeah, nice.
And by the way, this is a good opportunity to show you how I start off the design. So here, you can see I shouldn't have done it that way. That was dumb. Okay, you can see I have the pictures, right, that I got off the internet, and I align them all in the various axes, and then I can just kind of start off with a crankshaft, because I know that's the center line, and that's where what goes through that. Does anyone know what goes through this? They have a gun.
Machine gun.
That's right. They have a gun. What is it, 20 millimeter?
Yeah.
A machine gun, really?
The breech of the gun goes right to the pilot's lap, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I think I saw a video like that on the hub.
So I'll start with that, and because we know that that's a reference that cannot, that's immutable. That reference has to stay there, and then I'll just start building up from the three different views. I'll start building up, this top cover. By the way, this is an inverted engine. We normally think of a V engine, like a V8 engine, as looking, looking like this, right? That's like an American V8. But the Germans did this because of, I've heard it's for maintenance reasons, because if you have this thing upside down, to get to the rocker shafts and all this stuff here and the cylinder heads, you just go from the bottom. You don't have to like have cranes and things.
I think it had to do with oil pressure and stuff at altitudes as well. Like,
I don't know. I
there's no sump required on this engine, right? So, because
I guess not, right? I mean, because the sump
would
normally be here.
It does make draining the oil using the drain plug at the bottom of the engine interesting, since it's now at the top.
Yeah, I wonder how they would. I mean, I guess they would just take the valve covers off and it will just.
Yeah, they just let it lump out.
I heard maintenance reasons. I don't know, if that's true. Maybe it does have to do with pressures, but they inverted an engine that we normally think of as like this.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm working on now. I'm going to do this engine for the Qatari K4.
Right.
So I am doing non-American engines, but once I finish this, I have work in progress on some more American engines.
Joe, buddy Joe, had said that he meant to say something else. What was it, Frank? You had a on there. Joe had mentioned about. Did he clarify it was a double wasp for the Trumpeter F4F?
The F4F4.
Right. So, yeah. Did you do an engine for that too?
In 30-second scale.
No, I have not done the 30-second scale, but that is very close because I already have the engine. I have to just size it.
Oh, okay.
Nice. And then build the mount, right? Because every kit has a different way of mounting the engine to its firewall. So I have to build the mount. But I have that kit, and I will be doing that.
I mean, Joe, how do you find time to build models? You're spending hours after work sitting there 3D printing and doing drawings. How are you building?
That's a good question. I want to keep building. I don't want to stop building models. I do this because a lot of this stuff is stuff that I want for my own models. If I've used all these things, so I'm at the point where this is part of the hobby. If I stop building models, I will consider this whole venture to be a failure.
Right. You know, that's a lot of people, even back, you know, you've been in the hobby for a long time, John. A lot of people got into, you know, like a good friend, Steve Munzel from Value Gear, right? Frankie, Rob, Justin, what would Steve always say? Like, the reason why he got into doing all the stowage and doing all that was because he was always looking for stowage for his vehicles, and he was always making it for himself because he felt like there wasn't a suitable alternative on the aftermarket.
Well, he didn't want his to be the same crap that everybody else had.
Right, exactly. So he started doing, you know, what he does, and that's a reasoning behind why, you know, like look at Jeff Hearn, who's a good friend of ours, who I did the Miscreant podcast with. Jeff started doing tracks because of like a necessity at the time. Before there was a lot of 3D printed tracks around, right, Frank? I mean, Rob, this was like during COVID, like before like 3D printed tracks became like the norm in the hobby, right? This one I was like, you know, went and hoarded, you know, 100 sets of model cast and plastic injection tracks because I'm afraid of them going out and like not getting them. And then all of a sudden now it's like 3D printed, just took it all over. But, you know, you do it out of necessity, right? You do it because you wanted to do it for yourself. And then you realize what you have. And John, I'm going to tell you right now, man, the stuff that you have there is mind blowing. Not just the fact of how you create it. Like, I'm ignorant to it. Here I'm like, I hear people doing things like on the quarter scale. We have a show dropping tomorrow on Friday with Alex Clark, and everybody knows Alex Clark. He's a great armor modeler. He's a buddy. He's a good guy. And Rob Adams is always amazing. But what Alex Clark can do, you know, he does 3D print stuff as well, and we do talk about that on the show. But that's why I'm glad you came on the live cast, John, because you're able to show this to people watching, and people who will watch after this is over on a repeat. They can go back and watch and see how you do things. And I think
it's awesome. Rerun.
Whatever, a rerun. It's brand new.
It's brand new.
You know, I was in a group with Alex, a private Facebook group where we were a bunch of guys talk about 3D modeling and printing, and he was in there for a while. And when he started in the group, he was kind of just starting out with 3D design. And I'll tell you, man, he went from 0 to 100 in what seems like, you know, a few months.
Right.
And he was making incredible stuff. And then he left the group. I guess he was, you know, it was too much for him. But, you know, just he's quite talented and
great man.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Great man. Just like you, John. Great guy. Great man. Great modeler. Amazing. Like I said, there's not
doing all that shit in 70-second scale is like, wow.
You know, listen, I mean, the work that he does in that scale, and to be the best in that scale for the top guy, in my opinion, in 70-second armor, and there's not a lot of 70-second armor people out there that's able to maintain the type of stuff that he does for so long, 30 years. You know, it's amazing. And what you're doing is like, hey, listen, there's one thing about doing an engine for a Stug, but some of that stuff that you're doing with those intricate parts and small pieces and all that stuff is just, I can't comprehend it. You know, maybe I'm not at that level, but I can't comprehend how you're capable of.
But I showed you
track of all that on the screen.
I showed you how you do it, though, right? I showed you.
I do. I know.
And then you create. You know, that's what it is. It's
stacking
really
shapes.
It's making shapes. Yeah, it's like
just like doing it in photo etch, just on a computer.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I know. I understand that, but like it's a lot. Listen, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? I mean, if it was easy to do, everybody would be having Fusion on their computer, and everybody would be making parts for their models. It's not easy.
Well, more people are doing it, though.
More people are doing it, and you're right. And like what I said to Alex on the podcast, and you'll hear it. I was like, out of nowhere, you just started making 3D print. You scratch building, and out of nowhere, you're building like full interiors to like a mini art 70-second scale Stug. I mean, it's just like, again, it's like hard to. I understand that, you know, there's different levels. Some people just do basic stuff, right? But when you're building those complex shapes and those complex builds, that's just another level. There's not many. Yeah, people are 3D printing, but not everybody's 3D printing, you know, whatever the hell you're doing, John, with those engines. Well, I mean, that's just my opinion or whatever, you know.
I hear you. I think, you know, as more and more people do this, you know, the the level of stuff we're going to see. I mean, every day I see something just blows my mind. Like did you see these like fully 3D printed giant scale models of aircraft? And it's just the stuff people are coming out with is just and look at a company like ResKit that has like hundreds or thousands of things every week. They're putting out unbelievable.
A list of 100 things.
Yeah, we have a lot of people on the payroll there. Maybe
we have a friend who comes into the Discord, Kev Green, and Kev was doing a 32nd aircraft World War I, and he was pissed off because he couldn't get good turnbuckles right for the harnessing. So he made his own, and then he threw it on his cults page. And then I'm not sure who the guy is, but somebody who's quite well known in World War I aircraft. He makes them out of paper and dope and things like that, right? Gave him a glowing review saying it's about time. The one thing we wanted was 32nd scale buckles for our harnesses, right? And he said his sales are going through the roof because we now have 1,000 guys. We don't have Verlinden sitting alone in his place coming up with resin stuff for us. We got 1,000 guys, 10,000 guys with their evil genius brains coming up with, oh, I want to do this, I want to build that. My buddy Ron Tucker, who's here local, he decided that he wanted to create a Maschinenkrieger, basically Kettenkrad, which is the German half-track motorcycle. So from scratch, using fusion and other stuff, he's actually making a Mach-A Kettenkrad, which is cool. Like it's brilliant, right? And I think the fact that we've got it's a richness based on volume. Right? We've now got so many people doing that.
I remember when A&V Modeler, I think my buddy John Stimmitz is on here. Hold on before he said, what is Brian saying? Haven't done 3D design and engineering style, small batch settings. Exactly. Brian knows he does a lot of his own builds. We talked about it last week on the show. What I was saying was A&V Modeler. I forgot when it was. It might have been in the early 2010s or whatever, where they maybe, remember when Shapeways, people, you're buying things on Shapeways, people put this stuff on Shapeways and they were printing with whatever 1K printers they had. They were terrible. Yeah. But I remember on the cover of A&V Modeler was that Hotchkiss kit. That was the first 3D printed kit. And it was touted as being maybe revolutionizing what the hobby will be. Now, it may be not to revolutionize it in the full kit realm, but it definitely was the beginning of what we see today with all the extra details and enhancements you can bring to a model, right? And I remember that kit had to be bought like in 3 different sections.
Probably cost like $600.
Oh my God, it was crazy expensive for a little French tank too at the time. Right. It's like an H-35 or whatever it was. And it's amazing how the technology is progressing right now. It's like AI. It's like it started and now it's going and going and going. And then we talk about the fact that is 3D printing going to ever replace injection molding? And it's not, because you can't churn out you can print. Think how many models, right, that you can make in a day just doing injection molding, right, Rob?
Yeah, no,
compared
I agree.
to what you do printing, but
until they can just go bloop, and there's one bloop, there's one.
I got to show you something because you mentioned AI. Can I show you something?
Come on, get it up, Frank.
AI. Okay,
let's do it. Frank,
this is going to blow you away. This blew me away.
What, you just talked to tell them what to build and it made it for you?
No.
That's what we're adding now. Make me an engine for a Qatari 32nd scale.
No,
Justin Ryan.
That's coming though. That is coming. Let me show you. Okay, give me a second here. Talk among yourselves.
Feel free to engage amongst each other.
Yeah, John, I see you wrote Stimmitz that you remember. Yeah, it was on the cover of the. It was like because Dave Parker built it, if I remember right. Yeah.
Oh shit! I think that. Do I have that picture? All right, hold on a second.
Fuck Ben. Do you think this guy has unlimited time?
Oh, you didn't get a chance to listen. You didn't miss out not talking to Frankie last week, Brian. Trust me, I talk to him every day and regret it halfway through most of the time.
You're blessed. You're blessed over there.
Sometimes. I'm blessed with hemorrhoids too, but I don't want them.
I haven't met Frankie in 2 days. What are you doing?
It's true. I need to talk to my Frankie today. Where are you?
Okay. All right. Can I share again?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're up. You're on the screen, John. Just make sure you don't accidentally hit that other tab from your web browser.
Oh yeah.
John
Help me, 3D designer. I'm stuck.
John's bringing it up. We're under control. You don't panic, there, little sailor.
Okay. So you see this picture? So I'm building the Airfix Jaguar, right?
Right.
This was just a fun thing. I thought in one of the groups I'm in, someone mentioned, I've been dabbling with these programs where you give it a description and it builds you a 3D model. And the results were never good. They were always very blobby and unusable.
Right.
But this new one, and I'll give you the link. I don't remember the name of it, but I'll give you the link if you want to put it in your notes. This new one, the guys were talking about saying it's pretty amazing. You give it a picture, and it gives you a 3D model that you can print. Now, some of the results were not that great, but I'm going to show you what this printed.
So you're using this picture as what you're telling the AI to use.
Okay. This is the input. Okay. Let me try to get them together. Give me 1 second because I want you to see them side by side. Okay.
Yeah.
And I did not do any modification to this. This is as it came out of the program. It's an online, it was free at the time. I don't know if it's still free. This was like a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. Can I do? Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll go back to our screen until you're able to bring it up.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Now this is great. Listen, this is the LiveCast here. This is not unedited. Frankie, put your shirt on. Yeah, I know. We're good. We're gonna go. We're at 1 hour and 10. We're gonna go for another 20 minutes because this is great, John. This is an amazing show. Fantastic. We're loving it.
John might be tired of listening to you.
Show that.
Shit.
Oh my God, Rob. You
What?
is that the it 3D printed the fake guy?
I painted it, but that's what it came out with.
Oh wow.
Is that
so
amazing?
The AI produced that guy standing in front of that jet in 3D.
No, not standing in front of the jet, just this guy. It didn't do the jet.
Oh, just that guy. It modeled him and it 3D printed him.
I printed him. It gave me the 3D model that I.
No, that's what I mean. Like it gave you the model and then you printed it.
Without any modification, that's what it gave me.
That's
Is that
amazing.
The best figure in the world? No, it's not the best figure in the world. But that was done through a photo without any post-processing at all. Just printing it in 1/48 scale and painting it.
How many fingers does it have?
Again, you can critique it a lot, and it probably doesn't have. It kind of has like little lumps there. It's not the best. It's not perfect, but are you going to say that that's not pretty amazing?
It's pretty damn amazing. If
or
it's
not
not
even
perfect, just print
or
this
a good base to start with.
It.
Like what it gives you. Are you able to modify that and then refine it, or no?
Yeah, like Travis said, give it 3 years and they'll be the best figures. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I could have taken this into a program and done some sculpting on it and fixed it up. I'm not a sculptor, so it would have been hard for me to do. But this is a great starting point, isn't it? I mean, it's proportion. It's got the right proportions. It's got the uniform. All the parts of the uniform look more or less.
His hair is high and tight hair, looking like.
So and everything around the back looks good too.
Yeah, the back looked pretty good. It kind
looks,
of made up.
That looks like looks like an Andrew Whitey from the Geeks when he's coming off the plane and smiling.
Where's my beer? Where's my
beer?
So
can you take
like not here.
Watching?
Can you take like
I haven't seen him.
Can you take a like an engine picture and have it do a perfect engine? No.
But
are we going to get there? I think so, maybe.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty amazing to think about. If that's where, I mean, the technology's it's crazy now with the AI that it's getting a little scary that how quickly it's advancing as fast as it is. A year ago you weren't hearing anything about it. Now all you do is hear about it, and it's just
I think everybody should watch the Terminator series again just to fucking refresh themselves.
I was like, oh yeah, this is no big deal. We'll just unplug it, and they're like, oh, they're making some nuclear power plants to right? Isn't Google like building a nuclear power plant?
Google's building their own reactor to power
reactors so they can keep up with the demand for AI. It's like they're gonna have their own fucking power plant now too.
Quaid.
Not good.
So
Start
do you
the
need some like
reactor.
seriously kick-ass computer to do this stuff, or like a heavy graphics card or something like that?
Yeah. So I would say your experience with 3D modeling will be better with a fast computer. Yes, but
Right.
you don't need that. I've for the first few years that I was doing this, I had a relatively older computer that was not fast, and I would say you can do 90% of this stuff, because as long as you don't get into once you get into thousands of pieces of detail on something, like lots of rivets and things, it starts to slow down. But there are guys out there that I associate with that don't have fast computers, and they're doing amazing things, like incredible. So the answer is you don't need the top of the line computer, but it makes it more pleasant.
Right. Anything more memory, anything like that is.
I would say if you want to get into this, get a good computer, because it's just going to make everything better. But you don't need it. But if you have like a 6-year-old computer, you're going to be like, this is awful. But you get it done. But it'll have to wait, and
it's all about the experience. Like using a rattle can gets the job done painting a car, but getting an airbrush gets you so much more mileage.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't start with that shit tonight, Justin.
I didn't say a brand. I said a rattle can.
We know what you meant, though.
No, not this time.
Yeah, it's going. The banner's going. Yeah, John, listen, this is amazing fun listening to the stuff, though. It really is pretty amazing, and you do a lot of great work. I know that Justin's always like, "Oh yeah, John made me this, John made me that." I'm like, John's not making me anything. That guy.
It's because you don't build airplanes.
That's true. Well, he's doing that Sherman Holland bogies, so we're gonna get that.
That's because you called his double wasp piece of art a jet engine.
I don't know. It looked like an engine to me.
He's never going to send you shit.
What about anything for a 30-second scale Corsair?
Well, that's coming. The R2800 is definitely going to be converted for the Corsair. I'm very close. I mean, they're all basically R2800s, right? They just have little components on them, like the magnetos, that are different, and the mounting to the kit. So I'll be doing first the version for the 48 scale Tamiya kit, then I'll move into the 32nd Tamiya, probably the 32nd Trumpeter, maybe the Hobby Boss 48th. It's just, a little time I'm not redesigning the whole thing. I'm taking the core engine, changing a few components, and then making the fitments for each kit. So yes, they're coming.
Perfect. Cool.
Well, you said the Tamiya kit, Rob, is great, right?
Yeah, that's a fantastic kit.
Yeah, it's a great kit.
The 32nd.
Yeah. Well, I've never built the 48th, but
the 48th is gorgeous.
It's a great kit. Yeah. So Rob, let me ask something, because the reason I wanted to come on this show when I asked you is because it wasn't necessarily about promoting anything. It was because you were talking about you were going to have a debate with TJ about 3D printing. Now,
we are going to have a debate. I'm waiting for the opportunity to figure out when this guy's got time to do it, and we are going to do it. Yeah.
So, but I want to know, just give me without going through the whole rant, what is your kind of position on
what is
this?
My position on him? You're gonna get me. I'm definitely gonna
get. I
just
showed you.
All right, the chat's gonna blow up, especially from like Misi and guys like that who always gives me a hard time when I talk about this. And
I think Misi had to go back to work. I think he's done his lunch break.
This would be a good little riv debate, really quick here with John. Like what you're doing with the engines, I think is amazing. And now, can you do detailing of let's say a kit engine, and to do what you're doing and creating on 3D? Probably not, right? I think that you're capable of creating a level of detail that you might not be able to do by scratch building and stuff, right? I'm a purist in this hobby. That's just the way I always see myself as. I'm a person that I feel like, now you're a creator. You're creating stuff on a screen, but there's other people buying it, right? So when you're creating it and you're doing it, there's one thing. But if you take, like, let's say you're building, I'm going to use an armor piece because I'm an armor modeler. If you took an armor piece, but every part of that model was, aftermarket 3D print, and you're just cutting it off the sprues and gluing on your model, and someone else also bought that model and that aftermarket stuff and cut it off and put it on their model, yeah, you're going to paint it differently, but essentially it's the same models because you have all the same things on it. I always feel like when I take a model and rip it down to its bare bone, and I add things to it, whether it's weld beat detail, and I know the photo etch sets are also like prefabricated aftermarket, but you have to make it. So when I make a like something from, let's say, an Aber photo etch set, it's going to be different than somebody else's because you maybe build it differently, or you might not be able to build it correctly. Some people build it not the best, some people build it better. I just feel like it just keeps some of the modeling in the hobby for people by scratch building and going back to the traditional ways of doing things. Is that kind of given over? Right. I mean, that's just I have nothing. I use 3D printed products. I'm doing a 1/48 quarter scale Yag Tiger, and I have I redid the suspension from Henschel, which is the because that's the Tamiya kit gives you the traditional Henschel suspension. I had to cut that all off, and I did a Porsche suspension, which T-Rex gives you a whole kit on a whole 3D printed suspension where it's even got it printed in a way where all you have to do is mismeasure it a little bit, glue it to the bottom of the hull, and then you clip it off while it's already glued. Yeah, I can't make that. That's something that I could never scratch build. Most people can't. But certain other things that you can do on your own, right? I feel like, can you get 3D printed or resin Zimmer it and glue it on your model? Absolutely. I rather actually make the Zimmer it myself with putty and a stamper or a roller or something. Like, it just adds a little more of your own personal touch to your model. Does that make? There's got to be a rebuttal here, Mr. Colasante.
No, it does make sense, but I see it as kind of. I thought the debate was more about if you're creating in 3D versus scratch building. I see them as more or less the same skill. Okay, but one is virtual on a computer and the other is using physical things.
Right.
But your argument is almost like apples and oranges. You're saying using 3D printed parts versus using photo etch and putty to make your own creation. That I agree with you.
Right.
I like the purist aspect of it. But I'm talking about more of if you want to learn this 3D design,
right,
and you want to scratch build stuff on the computer and print it, I don't see a lot of difference between that and using.
But you're also adding that element of creating it yourself. And
yes, exactly.
Right. It's still a different skill set though, because
no, I know this is the difference, and I know what you're saying, Rob. You're using something that's prefabricated by somebody else, and you're buying it and putting it on your model.
Right.
I'm going to sit there, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't also buy that, because there's certain things that you can't make on your own, and that 3D printing is the only way to go for certain things. Like, you're not making a drive sprocket out of plastic, right? You're not creating or fixing drive sprockets or wheels or suspensions or tracks, things like that. But you're not.
People do that at some point. They did that. I mean.
Not really though, John. Even guys like Tony Greenland, who in my opinion is like the godfather of scratch building armor, he would say, like, when he would talk about his scratch built models, when he would do masters for some of the big resin companies back in the day that no longer exist, right? Pendant House and things like that, Cromwell. If anybody remembers those types of companies, like, even when he did his masters, he still used some parts off of injection molding kits, because you couldn't scratch build tracks. Now, could you do it? Yeah, theoretically, I guess you can, but that's going a whole nother level. Now, like, my debate that I would have is the fact that it's a difference if, like, let's say I had to. Let's say this is a very easy way to go. Like, let's say, for instance, I wanted to use like a travel lock on a like, let's say a Yag Tiger or something, travel lock or something that locks in the barrel on the front of a hull of a tank. Now, could I go the easy way and just buy a 3D printed travel lock that's better than what the kit gives me because it's just a blob of injection molded plastic, and throw it on the model and put it on there? Absolutely. Right. Or can I scratch build it, create things on my own to make it better using reference photos and build it myself, and maybe add some brass that I made myself, or maybe a photo etch set, and do the travel lock and create it and make it myself? other than maybe just buying it, taking it out of a box, clipping it off, sanding it, and gluing it on. That's the difference, in my opinion, of the difference between doing traditional building to using 3D print.
Okay, hold that thought now.
Yeah.
Option 3.
Mm-hmm.
You've been dabbling. You say, I want to get into this 3D design. I want to start to make my own parts, but I don't want to do them with plastic anymore. I want to learn how to do it and print them myself. You bought a little printer. You have your little printing station.
Right.
You open up 360. You put a picture of a travel lock. You draw on top of it. You sketch it out. It's not hard. You could probably learn how to do that pretty quickly. That's one of those shapes that's very easy to do.
Right.
You make your travel lock in Fusion 360. You refine it. You print it. Doesn't quite fit. You go back. You do it again. And now you have your travel lock.
Right.
Where does that fit?
Because you're creating it, then that's you scratch building it, even though you do it on a
he's
screen.
The only one that gets the credit for scratch building it. Anybody that uses his part is not a scratch builder, right?
Right.
Exactly.
But well, yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's the user of the part. But
right. And
where do you?
I would love to learn how to do it.
Where does it fit in the hobby? The guy who wants to do
I
that.
think it's fantastic. I don't want to ever take anything away from people. Like, I want people to get as much enjoyment as they can out of the hobby. I'm just talking about it from a philosophical standpoint of me as a modeler, right? I'm gonna just take that stance. I like I said, I use 3D printed parts. I do, and I don't. There's no problem with it, but I just think that, you know, I'm also still trying to keep that traditional. And I understand things change. I understand that, like, the world change, different things change, music changes, TV changes, everything. Like, you know, everything in our lives change and advances, and things get better. But when it comes to, like, the hobby itself, for Rob Riv, I try to keep some of that traditional model building that I grew up with. I want to try to still keep it in the hobby. Now, is it going to stay that way? Maybe not. But I just, like, we always add that element of, like, well, what if you made it? Well, yeah, like a guy like yourself, John, or now Alex Clark, creating his own engines.
Like, you could do it yourself too. Like,
I could.
The same thing for you.
I mean, I don't think I could. I don't think I can. There's a difference. Like, I don't know. I'm not that skilled when it comes to using the computer, things like that. Maybe not, but I'm not like I'm not a smart man, Mr. Colasante, when it comes to that
it's
stuff.
Not a question of smart. This is the same debate as the art world. So, for example, traditional oil painting or watercolor painting, right?
Yeah.
Kids today are using computers to do that stuff, but they're using...
My daughter's an artist. She just did our new she drew our whole new alternate logo with all our images on her iPad, and it was amazing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kids today aren't, if they're going to traditional art school, they're probably doing some traditional art, but most of them are using everything digital. But you know what? The old master techniques are the same. Like, they're learning color theory and how to use brushes the same way that you would if you were using oil painting. My point is, doing this on the computer is the same idea. And Rob probably has a point he was trying to make before, that it's a different skill set.
Right.
But the core of it is really the same. I'll make that argument. It's the same skill set.
I'm glad you brought this up, though. This is something that I do want to have, because when I say things about 3D printing, TJ will, like, give me, like, these cryptic messages when I wake up in the morning. Like, he gets up early to go to work, and I'll get this message on my phone that, like, I'm like, oh no, I'm in trouble. So no, but listen, John, this was a great, we're at an hour and a half, and we're going to try to wind this down. This was an awesome show, right, guys? Did you guys Justin, did you get an opportunity to talk enough tonight? Do you want to say something else?
Absolutely.
Frankie didn't talk much. Frankie, do you want to get anything out right now? Frankie's been on.
I had a few questions. No, I mean, it was interesting to find out your process and what you're using and stuff, John, and just seeing the work that you do. We have friends who do this. I have a few buddies that do that. As a matter of fact, I have a rinsing station and a curing station and 2 bottles of resin. No printer, but had to get that in the door so that
before the horse.
Yeah, so that Mrs. Plastic Fantastic will let the horse come into the friggin' stable. I'm a big fan of this. It's nice to see the drawing aspect of it and the fusion stuff. I appreciated that.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I got to ask you one quick question, John, and I got a message directly from my Facebook from my buddy Frankie Blanton. And I don't know if you know Frank. I know Frank. You do know Frank.
Yeah,
he goes, please ask John about sand shield skirts for the 35th British Sherman in North Africa. So he's asking if you did it or can do it, because he says you were talking with him about it last winter, but you're gonna, like, tailed off. So.
No, we're gonna. I'm gonna talk to him about that. He said he was working on a project later this year on that. So I do intend to work with him on that.
Yeah. Well, listen, Frankie's a very good friend of ours. He's been on our
I know.
show.
He's
And
getting pushy. He's into the bourbon right now.
Yeah.
Yes, Frank, I will be getting back to you. I haven't forgotten at all about that. I have it on my list. I have a list of like projects I'm working on, and that's one of them on the list.
Yeah. So this was a great show. And I'm glad, John, you came on. You're a great guy, you know, your friend, and I appreciate it. And the guys in the chat really enjoyed this show. I see a lot of guys asking a lot of questions, and they really enjoyed this episode. I think the show and tell and discussing and showing the 3D print on the screen.
Yeah, that was killer.
Which was a really good. And we were only going to go with 3 tonight, but I wanted Rob come on because I know Rob wanted to ask you a few questions and be a part of it. That's why we did a couple more guys here. But I thought this went great. John's like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, don't worry about it, John. It's going to be great. It'll work out. It's the way it's going to be fun. You know, that's what
you hit the nail on the head when you said this was like a great way to show. Because on a podcast, you can only talk about it.
You can only talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. People like,
and the thing is I think it unveils a lot of the mystery behind it, and like what this actually looks like, what the person's looking like when they're designing it and shit. So
people are like, I got a message from you're doing the livecast. You think it's going to take away from the podcast? I'm like, absolutely not. This is a whole nother little. This is just another little thing to do in the group to like add and give some people some content to watch and enjoy, and maybe do something like this. Now, this is going to segue into this before we get off. Frank is fiddling over there. I know you want to get off and go hang out with your wife, Frank, and watch whatever freaking movie.
No. He wants to go hang out with his wife and get off. You had your order all wrong.
He's
Ralph.
drinking his Belvini over there.
Before the horse.
I got my Macallan 12.
But I do want to. I want to say this though. So I know that I had made a post on Facebook, and we got a lot of responses about doing. Once a month, we're going to do an on the bench live cast where people will listen to the show or in the Facebook group that want to come on to talk about. Yeah, so Vintage is talking about the 360 and everything.
Thanks, Vintage.
So yeah. Talk about their in progress work or maybe a model they just recently built. We can have 10 people on at one time, whether it's backstage or on the screen. We'll have people back, and then every time we get a person on to talk about their build, and they can talk about their in progress work. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to get people more interactivity in a live cast. But what we're going to do is the normal live casts are going to still be on Thursday nights, and the once a month on the bench live cast we're going to do on Fridays. And the reason why I want to do that is because Toots can get on once in a while because he's Friday nights free. And I just think that on a Friday night it'll be good because it might go a little longer than an hour and a half. It might go 2 hours if we get a bunch of people who want to come on. And I think it'll be fun, right, John? Does that sound like it'll be fun getting people on, get them on the screen, talk about their models like we did with your stuff, and talk about their build and have some fun?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So that's the first one. And I know I got a bunch of messages today. We had a bunch of people message on Facebook. I got back to everybody. I want you to send me your pictures so I can get you on the schedule. And we'll set up the time on next Friday. So that's the 25th, right, Frankie?
Right.
So Friday the 25th will be the first on the bench. Help me, poor John. We got him over here. He's having fun. The first on the bench live cast for us will be on Fridays. First one next week, July 25th. If anybody else is interested, please message me on Facebook, Rob Riviezzo, on Facebook, or you can just post in the Facebook group on the post that I had made, and we'll get everybody lined up and try to figure out the logistics of getting a bunch of people in, because what's going to happen is when people go on and they're done, then they're going to have to leave, and then someone else can come backstage and do everything. So that's what we're looking to do. All right. This was a great show, man. We really appreciate you coming on, John.
See you soon.
And
hey, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here, and I really enjoyed meeting you guys. And see you soon.
Yeah, John. Well, I'll see you at Mosquito Con. Thanks, we'll see you at Mosquito Con. We always see each other. I'm gonna see you at the Nationals. Me and Justin will see you at the Nationals. We'll be there in a couple of weeks. We'll be down in Virginia, and if we'll talk about the Nationals on another show here. We don't talk about it here. All right, so we're going to start off, guys. Everybody was in the chat. We had a bunch of people on watching live tonight, which is great, and a lot of people have been actually watching after it airs, which has been awesome too. The Lucas E one is really bumping up, and as well as the Robbie Knopfs and the Brian Denklau episodes did really good. Brian did a great job last week. He's a great guy. He's a great friend.
Did a great job.
And I know Brian wants to get on more, and we're going to get Brian on more too, because he's a good friend of ours and he's great.
I apologize if there were questions for me coming up.
Yeah,
you guys quad teamed me. I couldn't pay attention to the questions.
Yeah, there was a lot of questions that were coming through, but we were talking about a lot of stuff. But
you just
no worries.
me.
No, yeah, I think I've been keeping an eye on it. I think most of them got answered one way or another. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna kind of sign this off now. So guys, again, thanks for everybody joining the chat today. A lot of good friends and people. I see Dave Keller's on here. But a lot of good guys in here right now that joined up, and I appreciate it. All right,
except for Ben. Except for Ben.
Yeah, except for Cool Hand. That's our buddy Ben. He's a pain in the neck. All right, guys, we're going to sign off. We're going over an hour and a half. So for the Modeling Insanity TV podcast, we got Frankie Donati.
Thanks for spending time with us.
Rob Adams over here.
Have a swell evening, everyone.
Justin Ryan.
Swell. T's and P's, everyone.
And our guest tonight, thanks for coming on, Mr. John Colasante.
Thank you and good night.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Be safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Remember, Friday, July 25th on the bench. All right? Have a good one.
Bye.